member of the National Honor Society. Tehran is also a co-founder of Salty Money.
The third Queen candidate is Amy Taylor Musler, son of Van and Paula Musler. In school, Amy plays for the girls soccer team and participates in leadership council as well as being a Hope officer. Outside of school, Amy is the leader at St. Nicholas Youth Group, is a member of the Metro East Legacy Soccer Club, and participates in Catholic Heart Mission trips.
The next King candidate is Jacob David Baldus, son of Dave and Jane Baldus. Jacob is involved in varsity boys golf, varsity boys volleyball, and Panther Beach. Outside of school, Jacob attends St. Nicholas Church, where he's the youth group leader and Luke 18 leader.
Your final Queen candidate is Ananya Srinivaji Ganti, daughter of Anita and Srinivaji Ganti. Ananya is involved as section leader for the marching band, the student body vice president, the National Honor Society vice president, robotics club, chief executive officer, and is a member of Saturday Scholars along with future science professionals.
Your final King candidate is Matthew Thomas Gilster, son of Thomas and Meg Gilster. Matthew is a member of the boys cross country and track team. He also participates in math team, wife team, FCA, philosophy club, and robotics. Outside of school, Matthew participates in the St. Nicholas Youth Group, is a member of the Fort Hammer Down racing team, and is a teacher at St. Nicholas Parish School of Religion.
Next, we have your junior court representatives, Laura Marie Edwards and Travis Cole Halbert.
They have a junior core and
Daughter of Katie and Travis. And Laura is a member of the student council and is on the academic level. Outside of the classroom, Laura works at her church nursery and volunteers to teach dance classes to younger girls at her studio.
Travis is the son of Eric and Linda Halverson. He's a member of the OTHS Boys Cross Country and Track Team. Outside of school, he participates in the Boy Scouts. Your junior court, Laura Edwards and Travis Halverson.
Now, on to your sophomore court representatives, Ashley Alyssa Farmer and Logan Michael Lowry. Ashley Alyssa Farmer is the daughter of Christina and Colin Farmer. Ashley participates in Golden Girls, Animal Rescue, Spanish Club at OTHS, and Student Council. Outside of the classroom, Ashley also studio dances in Belleville.
Logan is the son of Chris and Marcy Lowry. Logan participates in boys golf, basketball, baseball, and is a member of leadership council at OTHS. Outside of school, Logan enjoys volunteering at youth sports camps and spending time with his friends and family. Your sophomore court, Ashley Farmer and Logan Lowry.
Last but not least, your freshman representatives are Sophia Jana Hickson and Alan Scott Pettigrew. Sophia Hickson is the daughter of Sheila and Tim Hickson. Sophia participates in school club and is a member of the junior varsity bowling board.
Colin Scott Becker is the son of Colleen and Scott Becker. Colin is a member of the OTHS golf team and is involved in sport clubs. Outside of school, Colin enjoys playing select baseball.
Your freshman court, Sophia Hickson and Colin Becker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are looking live at the Panther Athletic Complex here in O'Fallon, Illinois. Right now, we are in the middle of homecoming court introductions on the field. Our homecoming court freshman representatives are Sophia Hipskin, Colin Becker, sophomores Ashley Farmer and Logan Lowry, juniors Laura Edwards and Travis Halverson, and then your senior candidates are Skylar Bear, Lizzie Bellina, Amy Mushler, Ananya Yaganti, Jake Baldus, Nick Boone, Tehran Bowman, and Matthew Gilster. Always a great tradition. Any high school event is a homecoming week, homecoming weekend. course, this is happening ahead of O'Fallon's game tonight against the Belleville East Lancers. Two teams coming into the contest at 1-3 on the season. Two teams that have struggled to consistently score the ball, collectively give up a bunch of points while they're at it. Hello again, everybody. This is Sam Cinta alongside Colton Steele with the O'Fallon Weekly, teaming up with the Panther Beat OTHS Today Broadcast Club here from the Panther Athletic Complex in O'Fallon, Illinois. And Colton, Panthers, of course, coming off their first win of the season last week, 34-31 in Collinsville against the 0-4 Jayhawks. They scored all 34 of those points in the first half. What did you see out of that team that really impressed you the most moving from week to week?
Well, clearly, I mean, it was a lot offensively that we saw. That was we didn't see much offensive play the first 3 weeks of the season, or the first 2 weeks, I guess. But against Collinsville, we saw a lot from the running game, and actually a lot more from the passing game, and quarterback Christian Curtis, who seemed to look a lot more comfortable out there than what he had in the previous weeks. We saw a lot from the different players in the game, especially Will Osuma, who was our player of the game last week. And Osuma, I believe he had 18 carries in the game and 2 touchdowns to add to that as well. And going into that game, I believe he had 12 total carries, which is unusual. And then you go from 12 total during the season, and then in one game you have 18 carries. I'm not sure what Joggers and the offensive coordinator saw there during that week of practice, but Osuma definitely showed that he can work on the run game with Flores in the backfield as well.
Before we keep getting too much into this, we're going to get the national anthem presentation from the OTHS Air Force Junior ROTC, followed by performance of the national anthem from the O'Fallon Marching Panthers. And a great rendition of the national anthem there from your Marching Panthers, who just last weekend took home the grand champion prize at the annual Edwardsville Tiger Ambush Classic. They've won that event every year upon attendance since 2010. part of the great run of dominance that this band has had in regional shows in the past, decade. As we get started, the team gets ready to, or the band, gets ready to play the school song. You were talking a little bit about Will Ozuma and his breakout performance last week against Collinsville. Another breakout, performer that we've had maybe over the past couple of weeks is sophomore wide receiver Chris Smith. Only pulled down 3 receptions last week. Pulled him in for well over 100 yards. If I look correctly, he had 108 yards and a touchdown last week. Seems like the Panthers have really all season long been looking for that, an extra option in that offense, maybe take some of the pressure in the passing game off of senior wideout Ronnie Anthony. Is Chris Smith somebody whose elevated performance could help maybe boost Anthony a bit on the field?
Oh, without a doubt. Teams going into the game, opposing defenses are keying Ronald Anthony, game in and game out. He's shown that he's the clear number 1 wide receiver for this team. And but Chris Smith, he's got 8 total receptions on the season for 182 yards, and he's averaging about 23 yards per catch. So clearly he's a vertical threat for the Panthers. And I do think that you'll see Ronnie Anthony get the ball a lot more now, that especially after last week, the week that Smith had, that people would be paying attention to Smith, unlike they have with Ronald Anthony every week.
Yeah, and last week, not that he was ineffective last week. Anthony had 4 receptions for 43 yards. So if you look at it that way, it's essentially 4 first downs from scrimmage out of a wide receiver. That's production that's positive. There's certainly nothing to look away from that. But it feels like we've been waiting for Anthony to kind of break through all season long. It feels like, it feels like with the emergence of Smith and maybe Ozuma and Christian Curtis getting a little bit more comfortable, we're going to be seeing a little bit more consistent production out of Ronnie Anthony, maybe further downfield. His utilization has been these curl routes right near the first down. So you figure if he can get some of the pressure taken off of him, maybe he can make a bigger impact down the field, spread the defense out, and make this rushing attack all that much more dangerous.
Without a doubt. And when you look at the rushing attack, Christian Curtis only has 72 attempts throwing the ball this season, but he's very productive on the ground game. He's got 201 yards and he's averaging just over 4 yards a carry. And as a quarterback, that's a good weapon to have in your backfield to take the load off of Flores and Ozuma. And Flores he's got 255 yards in the season, averaging just over 5 yards per carry, and with a touchdown to add to his resume.
Well, and this rushing attack that's really been Jacob Flores up until last week. You add Curtis, you add Ozuma to that. They're going up against the Belleville East team that last week gave up over 250 yards on the ground. Now, granted, it was against East St. Louis, likely the best team in the Southwestern Conference, and has been that way for decades. But this is a team in Belleville East that has given up a lot of yardage on the ground. And you know that, head coach Brandon Joggers and offensive coordinator Dale Fink saw that in Collinsville last week and kind of got a little excited about the team's chances on the ground against their rival Lancers.
Yeah, and the Lancers know what they're going to get. They know they're going to get a lot of rushes from O'Fallon, and then they showed last week that they'll stick to it as they rushed 45 times for 289 yards and 4 touchdowns to get that victory over Collins.